Greetings and welcome to Pete on the Street. For the next 30 minutes, we'll share with you a collection of on-location and in-studio interviews that will prove that everyone's got a story. You'll join us on the Dead Tour and visit the graves of the famous or obscure and hear a biography of what they did while among the living. Please join us in saying thank you for your service to our veterans and active duty military. And join Pete for our newest segment this season, East of the Bridges, for on-location segments about fascinating people and places out on Cape Cod. You never know who you'll meet with Pete on the Street. And now, direct from the state-of-the-art studios of Taunton Community Access and Media, Inc., the TCAM TV network, and shared with the Rainham, Middleborough, Lakeville Freetown, and Fall River Cable networks. Here's the host of our show, Peter G., Pete on the Street, Mazzone.
Hey, good evening, ladies and germs, and welcome to Pete on the Street. I'm not on the street tonight. Here we are back in the beautiful Charlie Crowley Memorial Soundstage at TCAM TV. And I tell you, I've got a great show for you tonight. I'm with some wonderful friends. But before we start that, I want to tell you that Alicia, my wife and my director, we spent 2 weeks in the old sod in Ireland. And we did a lot of on-location shoots. So we're going to be using those in the show come this fall. And speaking of this fall, we have been picked up for our third season here on TCAM. Thank you, TCAM, for picking up the show again. I really appreciate it. And now, without further ado, I've got my great friends, Gina Bolvin and her husband, William Bill Bernarduci, and they are the owners of the Bolvin Wealth Management Group in beautiful downtown Beantown, Boston. And welcome to the show, folks. It's so good to have you aboard.
Thank you.
And now these folks, I know absolutely nothing about what you do, but just to give you folks an idea of who these folks are, is now Gina has been named one of the top 5 women advisors in the state by a very influential Barron's Winner's Circle group. Also, in the Boston Business Journal. Now, how often does somebody get on the front page of the Boston Business Journal? Gina has been named a woman of influence, okay? So I hope you don't influence me to do something bad here or something good, but either way, positive influence.
Yes.
She has been nothing but a positive influence on this boy. And now her husband, Bill, is sort of my hero because while Bill was working with the Manhattan DA's office, he took on some major corporations, and what baffles me is the numbers that these people work with. Now, Bill was able to recover $70 million from Tyco Corporation on behalf of his clients who were people with retirement funds with that corporation. But surprisingly, $70 million was only like dimes on the dollar compared to what these people lost. But I think a lot of people could use a champion like Bill. So
well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Tell me, folks, Bill and Gina and Bill, what on earth do you folks do?
Well, I'm a financial advisor,
Okay.
and though I own and operate my own business, we are affiliated with LPL Financial,
Yes.
which manages over $488 billion in assets. Billion.
Okay.
So LPL is the 4th largest broker-dealer and the largest independent financial advisor. And I help people, basically what we do is investment management, wealth management, retirement planning, estate planning, and we also do benefits planning and help our clients with Social Security and any type of company benefits
Okay.
they may have.
And while your office is in Boston, you also deal with a lot of folks now the show is broadcast through Taunton, the surrounding communities, southeastern Massachusetts, out onto Cape Cod. I would imagine you've got clients all down this way.
We have a lot of clients in Taunton, and we actually have clients all over the country.
Oh, really?
But a lot of our clients work in Taunton, and they live in Taunton, so we're delighted to
great.
be here.
That's right. They live in Taunton, they work in Taunton. We also have clients all over the state. So
Great.
we represent clients and do investment management for clients pretty much in Massachusetts and across the country.
Now, the way I met you was when my wife Alicia was with Verizon, you were involved with coaching the Verizon employees on their retirement affairs. Is this helpful, even though somebody has a retirement plan with a big company, that they have somebody like you folks to help them with it?
That's right. I mean, I think retirement benefits consulting is a major part of our business. It is very important that you understand how your retirement benefits work.
Right.
And we help our clients do that. We educate our clients, but we also help our clients optimize their benefits.
Okay.
Which is an important part of retirement success.
Now, what if somebody doesn't work for a big corporation? They don't have benefits. Let's say they're a small business owner, or they're an employee of a business that doesn't really offer them anything like that. What are the best 3 things somebody can do in order to create a comfortable retirement, and when should they start?
That's actually
That's
a
a
really
great
good
question.
Pete. The best thing you could do for a successful retirement is to start early.
Okay.
If you haven't already started, there's nothing you can do about that.
Right.
So let's talk about the other 2 things.
Okay.
Diversify your portfolio.
Okay.
We see a lot of people trying to make a lot of quick money, and that's not the way good, sound investment works.
Okay.
So you don't want to just diversify between stocks and bonds, but even within stocks, you want to have many different types of stocks.
Okay.
Growth stocks, value stocks, small cap, international. And if you do have bonds, and not everybody needs to have bonds. If you're young and you're aggressive and you have a high risk tolerance, you could be in a 100% stock portfolio.
Okay.
I am, because I have a high risk tolerance.
Okay.
But you want to have a very diversified portfolio, and it's going to help you smooth the ride through the volatility.
Now, what if somebody wants to bring their paycheck home every week and put it under the mattress, or put it in a bank account where they think it's safe, it's untouchable? Is that somebody that wants absolutely no risk? And what are they going to end up with?
Well, that may be somebody that wants no risk, and if you're that type of person, it's important for you to know that.
Okay.
You know, there's nothing wrong with being conservative.
Okay.
That's not going to get you to where you want to go,
Okay.
because cash doesn't keep pace with inflation.
Oh, right.
You know, so everybody does need some growth factored into their portfolio.
So one thing you mentioned was that there's no such a thing as quick money in the stock market. Now, I'm a historian, and these folks was great to come and speak to my Kiwanis Club today. Thank you very much, at the Kiwanis luncheon. But before the luncheon started, I started talking about history, and General George Armstrong Custer, who was very famous for his death at the Little Bighorn, but even before that, during the Civil War, he was tremendously successful. He was a hero. He was like a pop star of the day in the newspapers and magazines. Very, very, he was a personality. He was a celebrity. Mm-hmm. And he thought that he could turn his celebrity into some quick bucks in the stock market. And he went to New York and he invested in the stock market with borrowed money and lost his shirt. So
there's a couple of good takeaways from that.
Okay.
One is, you never borrow money and invest it in the stock market, right? Because that's money that you can't afford to lose.
Right.
And if he lost all of his money, he probably was too aggressive with it.
Okay.
And then he probably, I don't know what, he wasn't diversified.
Right.
And he panicked. And that's another common mistake that people make, is chasing performance on the way up and the way down.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that was an interesting point that you made. What are some examples of that? If you say, are you saying if a stock is very successful, you come in on the end of its success and then it stops climbing, or I don't understand.
Chasing performance means, you know, you've heard the saying, buy low, sell high.
Yes. So
chasing performance is kind of the opposite of that.
Oh.
It's buying low.
It's buying after the stock or the investment has reached its peak.
I see.
Yeah.
So it's the exact opposite of the principle of investing, which is to buy low and sell high.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's really important, that you don't want to let your emotions rule your decisions.
Okay.
And that's what a good financial advisor can help you do, is kind of
smooth it.
Yeah.
Kind of keep it level. Okay.
Making sure you have a strategy.
Because it's great when you have the spikes, but when you have the crashes, yeah. Now, one question that's always stuck in my mind. I'm not a gambler, right? But I might spend $5 every couple of weeks on the lottery. So let's say I hit Megabucks or Powerball.
Give us a call.
All right, but now somebody who comes into a lot of money all of a sudden, do they need a financial advisor?
I think they do need a financial advisor, but whether or not you come into money or whether or not you're saving money periodically, the investment principles are the same.
Okay.
So, it's wonderful to come into large sums of money, whether it's through inheritance or it's through a lottery. And if you do win the lottery, feel free to give us a call. We'll be very happy to help you with your investments. But in terms of retirement planning, and investment management, the sound principles of investment management continue whether or not you have large sums of money or whether or not you have small sums of money.
Now, one thing that you've impressed on me is, again, the fact that you can't go and make a quick buck in the stock market. So people have to remember that they have to earn the money, they have to have the discipline to save the money, and then, from what I understand, you folks help them keep the money. Is that sort of what you do?
Put a plan in place.
Yes, okay.
Have a very diversified portfolio and kind of not pay attention to the noise and the short-term volatility.
Okay.
Don't let emotions rule
the long-term.
Your long-term, your sound investment decision, and a strategy that we would have in place for you.
Okay. One thing that was very impressed me very much when I was a child, and sometimes I'm called childish, but was a 1934 Disney cartoon, and it was an Aesop fable. Disney did it beautifully. It was called The Grasshopper and the Ant, and the grasshopper plays his fiddle and has a wonderful time while the ants are working, and they're putting away food for the winter. And of course, Disney did everything so beautifully at the end. At the end, Disney, in the cartoon, the grasshopper is out in the snow and he's freezing to death, and he knocks on the door, and the ants were big-hearted and they let him in to spend the winter, which was a happy Disney ending. But that doesn't happen in the real world. And if somebody does that today, do they end up relying on Social Security or social service benefits?
I think you raise a great point.
Okay.
I think there are a lot of American families who are following the path of the grasshopper as opposed to that of the ant. There was a study by the Economic Policy Institute that basically said that 50% of American families have no retirement savings accounts.
No, zero.
And if you looked at Social Security and turning to Social Security, 65% of American retirees rely on Social Security for the primary or the majority of their retirement income.
Okay. And I don't mean to be a philosopher, but we had a generation that came through the Great Depression, and they were very frugal. They saved. They built up the nest eggs. But how are the baby boomers doing with this? The baby boomers and now whatever the next generation is?
I think the times have changed. And I think if you're talking about the earlier generations, there was a reliance, I believe, on other retirement plans, including defined benefit plans, which are pension plans.
Yes.
So there's been a transition from this reliance on pension plans, where now pension plans have been slowly going away and being replaced with 401k plans and other retirement benefit plans that are requiring retirees or employees to take on the mantle of saving for themselves and saving for retirement rather than relying on a traditional pension for their benefits.
Okay, all right. And a lot of people today, they're not having the employment where the pension is even offered.
That's right.
So they have to get on the stick and do some saving. You can't be the grasshopper all the time.
Correct.
Right? In our family, I'm the grasshopper and my wife Alicia is the ant. Okay, and I'm
so you make a good team.
We do. So I can entertain her, but she's stowed away all the acorns in the tree. But now we're coming up to about halfway in the show, and I always wanted to do a segment called Love Story. Okay, and I've got these two wonderful folks here today. They're married, husband and wife, working together. just as a side note, now Gina is a writer. Okay, she's producing a novel called Love.com.
That's right.
Love.com. She's involved with a writers group in Boston. She and Bill are involved with a lot of activities, charities, and so forth. And we've got some photos to share today. We're going to kind of do a slideshow. So Walter in the control room, could we take a look at this? I wanted to start out with this because this is just a money shot right here. I love this one. How long have you two wonderful folks, been together?
We've been married for 7 years.
Wonderful. That's great.
You always listen to your mom.
Okay.
And it was my mom who introduced me to Gina.
That's great. That's great.
And we're very happily married, and we work together, and it's a part of who we are and the fabric of our relationship, and we have a relationship of trust, and it's worked out very well for us, and it's worked out well for our clients as we put our two disciplines together.
Yes.
I come from a legal background, Gina from finance
Yes.
background.
Well,
and we live, work, and it's all part of our practice.
Yeah, eat, drink, and sleep, finances and law.
That's correct.
Now,
We're a little more interesting than that, I think.
oh, I'm sure. Yes, exactly. You're more
So-
interesting. Now, here they are making wine. Okay, they're making some wine, and I'm surprised that Gina doesn't have purple feet, but apparently they don't use the old country method. It's a nice family shot there. Here's a travel shot. Trip to Paris. My God, I'm just stunned at what's going on in Paris right now. It's just a tragedy of what's going on in Europe right now. Now I understand this is your late dad. Now tell me about Dad and how inspirational he was to get you going.
My dad, he was really something. He inspired me, and he was the most influential person in my life. He was very fiscally responsible because he came from nothing. He was an entrepreneur, and he inspired me and had me start saving money. When I was 18 years old, I was putting money in IRAs. When I was 26, I bought my first home.
Wow. And here's you and here's Bill and Gina with the first Christmas tree. I love that. That is a happy one. Here we are again with the wine. Okay, now is that like a wine press?
Yeah, it's a wine crusher.
A wine crusher.
Yeah.
Okay. And now this gentleman was
Ben Bernanke.
Yes, and he was the head of the
Federal Reserve.
Federal Reserve. Yes.
He took over after Alan Greenspan.
Okay. So, and I love this. Do not coast. Now, do not coast is a theme that you use for your financial advice seminars,
Absolutely.
isn't it?
That is my mantra.
And what exactly does do not coast mean?
It means that you need to take your temperature, whether you need to take your temperature, you need to take your pulse, whether it's physically or fiscally.
Okay.
You know, you can't coast in life, in finances, in working out.
So don't just sit back and expect somebody else to take care of you.
That's
Is that
right.
what that's saying?
That's right.
All right. I love that. And here we are
Well,
again.
if you go back to that photo.
Yes.
If you go back to that photo, because what happens if you see the
street.
yellow sign behind it,
Yes.
it says falling rock
Falling
ahead.
rocks, yes.
So if you do coast, the rock hits you.
Yes, like the Road Runner and Wile E. Coyote.
Yep.
Yeah, with a 10-ton anvil from Acme. Yeah, so you better save up so you don't get whacked with that rock. And this is wonderful. Here you are with your late dad, and you said that you've got 3 sisters.
3, yep.
And he inspired the 3 of you to have
4 of us total.
the 4 of you to have confidence in yourself.
That's right.
And I can see this gentleman saying, "Reach for the stars." All right. Yeah, God, I love that picture. You know, I've got 3 beautiful granddaughters. I want to try to inspire them to do that.
Right.
You know.
I'm sure you do.
Here you are, Red Sox fans. This is like a slideshow here. Yeah, I miss you, Dad. Isn't that the truth? You know, I lost my dad about 12, 14 years ago. I think of him every day. And I'm sure your dad is with you every day.
Yeah.
Here we are again. We're doing the bicycle riding. I don't mean to be doing the talking.
You're doing a great job.
Let me turn this over to you. Just share some memories, if you will.
This was a trip to Napa Valley, obviously, where We always go on trips.
Okay.
And as part of our trips, there's always a lot of physical fitness because Gina is a physical fitness enthusiast. So I call it boot camp.
Okay.
Other people call it vacation.
Yes.
And that was a 50-mile bike ride that we did through Napa Valley, and she snapped a shot of me there.
Nice. And this is down at Duxbury Beach, you said?
Yeah.
Yep, a bonfire.
4th of July.
And again, with the Do Not Coast and the Falling Rocks. Yeah, this is your mantra. And I've taken a good lesson from this, really. I was a very late starter as far as taking care of things, and I tell you, I'm working like hell right now to catch up.
Yeah.
So, and this again, these are your folks, Gina?
Yep, Federal Hill.
Oh, you gotta love Federal. That's down by...
I'm from Rhode Island.
That's from De Pasquale Square.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's right.
Of course, and right over on the other side is Venda Ravioli.
Yes.
Oh, that's the place
Great
to
place.
be. Yes. All right, and here we are at a road race of some kind.
Hartford Marathon.
Oh, that's great. Just to jump off the pictures for a minute, we've got a few more minutes to discuss. I don't do politics. I'm not going to ask them who they're going to vote for. I know who I'm going to vote for, but I'm not going to tell you. But what effect does an election year have on the market?
I think we're seeing that right now.
Okay.
We're seeing lots of volatility. And I think generally that's the case because when there's uncertainty, that's what causes volatility.
Okay.
That's what we're seeing right now. I think what's interesting, though, is over the last 60 years, in a presidential election year, in the fourth quarter, the market generally rallies.
Really?
Whether it's a Democrat or a Republican that
so
wins.
after the election is over, then there is a rally. But okay, so what
or if we see a clear leader,
I see.
once the uncertainty is lifted, we generally, when the uncertainty has been lifted, whether it's in September and we see that there's a wide gap, or whether it's after the election and we know. So it's not so much Democrat or Republican as it is more uncertainty.
And it's uncertainty of what's going to happen with various regulations or new legislation that might be introduced.
Correct.
And it's just the unknown. People are afraid of the unknown. So once they know what the election result is or likely to be, then they feel more comfortable with going ahead with investing.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's a good principle to invest for the long term.
Yes.
And your investing plan and your strategy should be longer than just a 4-year term of office of a single president.
You're right, okay.
So it's important, again, Gina had said this earlier, which is to not focus on that short-term noise, whether it's in the market or it's in the political arena, but to focus on your plan and your objectives and then come up with an investment strategy that matches the risk you want to take going forward.
Now I understand that you publish via email every week a market analysis or a market overlook.
Market commentary.
Market commentary. How would people reach out to you to get put on that list without any pressure of any kind?
Absolutely, and if you just want to read about what we're saying weekly in the market, just drop me an email, gina.bolvin@bolvinwealth.com.
Okay.
Give my office a call.
And we've got that little graphic we can put right there at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah. And we'll put you on our weekly market commentary.
Very good, and no boiler room pressure callers calling you up
not.
to get pounded on you,
Nope.
telemarketers. No, these folks don't do that, ladies and germs. Let's go back to some of our slideshow here. Here we go with. This is the money shot right here. I love this. Now I see how you two can work together.
That was on a honeymoon.
That's great. You two are the best. I mean, it's going to be a wonderful marriage relationship. And here's another trip over to Italy at the Colosseum.
Yeah.
My God. Those gladiators didn't have much of a retirement plan, did they? Oh, man. And here we are at a financial event in Boston.
That was in London.
Oh, that was in London.
Yeah.
Of course, there's the English flag.
Yeah.
It looks very similar to the Taunton Liberty and Union flag, which looks like that, except it has the words. That's up in the corner, and it has the words Liberty and Union. The first flag flown in defiance of the crown in the colonies was right down here at the Taunton Green. And here you are with Mr. Greenspan. I understand people would just watch him so closely, and the market would go up and down depending on if he yawned or not.
Yes. Absolutely. And that's a good point, because when people think about the market and the president, really the person who moves the market more than anyone is the chairman of the Federal Reserve.
And not the president.
It's Janet Yellen.
Right now, yes.
Yeah, and what she's doing with interest rates.
Right. And here we are. Oh, here we are with another
Madeleine Albright.
Madeleine Albright. And you're on the list of who's here, I think. and now you're on Pete on the Street. My God.
I'm going to add you to the slideshow.
That's right. All right.
James Baker.
James Baker, who was the Secretary of State, and with Mayor Menino, the late Mayor Menino. What a wonderful gentleman.
Sweetheart.
Mayor Menino was. My wife and I volunteer every year up at the Timothy School in Roxbury. Pen pals with kids.
Yeah.
They call it Promising Pals. And while Mayor Menino was alive, he was there every year. He would have a pen pal. Just a wonderful gentleman. I got to tell you a quick story about Mayor Menino. I broke a tooth on my birthday a few years ago. I go to a dentist, Kumi Kamachi, in the Back Bay. I was 2.5 hours in her dentist chair. Wow. I came out and I found a ticket on my car. I paid it, and I sent a copy of it and a personal note to Mayor Menino. And I said, what kind of city gives a guy a ticket on his birthday with a broken tooth? So he sent me back the check.
Oh my God!
Honest to God,
what a nice story.
Wonderful guy. And now we've got about 3 minutes to wrap up, maybe 2. But again, here we are with your late dad. He was a doctor also. He was a doctor, and he got you started. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't impress upon you enough the need to, you're 19 years old, you're 25 years old, you're 32 years old, you're 37 years old. You're not thinking about being 65 like the old Mozone here, okay, which is going to happen next week. And all of a sudden you're a grasshopper your whole life, and all of a sudden, hey, what do I do, right? But I'm glad you folks are out there too. What would, just to wrap up, what would you suggest people do to get on track in a positive way?
I think that first step is the hardest. Like when I'm a fitness enthusiast, just putting on your sneakers and taking that first step out the door. Hardest part. Look at your company benefits. Can you add to a 401k?
Okay.
Do you qualify for a Roth IRA?
Right.
Can you open up a contributory IRA?
Right.
If you can't put in one lump sum, set up monthly slow contributions.
What I did when I was at Reed and Barton Silversmiths, they matched 6% of your income. So I would actually put in 7% every week. I put in 7, they matched 6. Over the course of about 12 years, I ended up with $30,000,
right,
which was more than I had ever saved in my life. So, so is there any minimum? I'm sure there's no maximum, but is there any minimum?
Certain mutual fund companies have minimums, but that's something that it doesn't matter. Start saving, start early, and once you start, do not coast. Annually.
That's right. Don't coast.
Don't coast. Annually, take a look at yourself. Give yourself a fiscal checkup.
Skip the new car for an extra year.
Maybe.
And keep putting the money away.
You got it.
I drive a car that's 12 years old. I haven't had a payment in about 10 years. Okay, that is really sweet.
It is.
Tell you, that is sweet. So on that note, I'm not sure what we've got left for time, but I want to thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Again, reach out to Gina and Bill at your website again. Let's throw that at them again.
It's www.bolvinwealth.com.
Okay, and you can certainly find more information about them on the Pete on the Street Facebook page. Please like me on Facebook. If you subscribe to the Boston Business Journal, check it out. This wonderful story. Woman of influence. Man, I tell you, I've been influenced in a positive way. And the Barons, my God, what a resume these two have. And I am just so grateful that they've joined us on Pete on the Street.
Thank you.
And with that, I think all I can say is it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching Pete on the Street. This program is produced by Peter G. Pete on the Street Mazzone, who is solely responsible for its content. The views and opinions expressed here are solely those of Mr. Mazzone and his guests and do not reflect the opinions of the Taunton Community Access Media, Inc., TCAM TV Network, and its management and directors. To make comments and/or suggestions, please reach out to peter.mazzone@verizon.net. And please follow us at facebook.com/pgmazzone.
Cut.